Metropole Debrief is a dialogue. Everyone has their say. This is Social Watch, where our mics are off and your voice comes on. This is a segment where we seek to find out and sample some of the views that you've been sharing online with regards to the conversation of the day, which is the Constitution of Kenya Art 10. What do you think is the progress report this far? What are some of the sectors that we've done really well, or things that we've done well with regards to implementing the Constitution, the challenges, and with regards to reforming the Constitution, what your 2 cents are? Also, later on, we'll be crossing over to the streets to see what you had to say on the ground. But before that, we want to throw it to our latest addition on the team, Vincent Odhiambo. He joined us last week on the team, and he still joins us today. Vincent, do you think?
Thank you so much, Ondiro. Now, like you've mentioned, we'll be looking at some of the comments online, and we're starting with Instagram. We did a poll where we were asking, do you think the new constitution has delivered in its 10 years of existence? 50% said yes, 50% said no. So I think it's sort of balanced.
Great. It will be interesting to just sample the feedback and see why we have 50-50.
Okay, let's then go to Twitter and find out just why. Willis is saying, devolution, independent judiciary, reformed police, and abolition of imperial presidency formed the centerpiece of 2010 constitution. But impunity, massive corruption, and impunity, massive corruption, inequality, and electoral malpractice still reside in the country. Now, impunity. We've seen, like we saw online, people are saying, oh, the government, people are looting money. We've seen COVID-19 millionaires. Then there is the matter of corruption. Every single day, almost every month, we must have like an existence of a particular scandal. Yeah,
and this goes to feed into the conversation that we were having with both Orogo and Kanjama, who said particularly devolution has created an avenue of devolved corruption, rather, where we are seeing county funds being looted, and also the judiciary is not as independent as it should be. As Kanjama said, they're not getting enough funds that they should be given. And further to that, also police reforms are taking a little bit longer than they should. So I can relate with what Willis is saying.
Okay, let us see the next. With the emerging levels of corruption, again, corruption, with the emerging levels of corruption in the counties, it's obvious that we don't need 47 thieves in the name of county governors. The BBI, which comes as a tool to improve constitution, should replace current 47 counties with 8 regional governors, avail 8 officers of the Assistant Auditor General appointed by the national government.
In order?
To help monitor the county expenditure in order to win the war on corruption. We've seen the latest governor, Migori governor, arrested over graft issues. What's your take on that?
It's still a matter that is before the court, but he's being accused of using over 70 million of county resources to just kind of supplement the lifestyle of his kids, educate them, buy them houses. These are allegations that will be tested in a court of law, and the court will determine whether he's guilty or not. But also Kanjama said something that he's mentioned, that we need to devolve offices like the Office of the Auditor General so that counties can be vetted on how they're using revenue. The Auditor General shouldn't just be a national Auditor General, but they should also be at county levels. EACC should have a stronger grip at county levels, so some of these cases can be prosecuted and handled at the county level where the thuggery happens, and not necessarily in Nairobi.
Okay, so we don't need EACC basically basing itself in Nairobi.
We don't need EACC only functioning in Nairobi.
Okay, thank you. Next tweet.
Technology?
Yeah, I guess. 10 years down the line, anybody with a dark past can still run for office. A lot can still be done with our judiciary. Now, you mentioned judiciary in terms of independence.
Yeah.
Just how independent is our judiciary system?
For one, if you look at the fact that Justice David Maraga, together with his team at the Supreme Court, nullified a presidential election, it doesn't happen as often as you'd think it happens irrespective of the irregularities. So that went to show the kind of leap in terms of judicial freedom and upholding the constitution that the judiciary had taken with that step. And Maraga also said 10 years later, if he would have been given the same case, he would have still nullified that election. But we've seen wars, as Kanjama mentioned, between the judiciary and the executive. When the judiciary makes decisions that are not in favor of the executive, then the executive retaliates by stifling funds from the judiciary. So the judiciary is not properly funded. And that goes a long way in kind of curtailing the freedom and the independence of the judiciary. There's a pending list of judges that is yet to be approved, and also that also slows down the judiciary. But also this person mentions that the dark past of people who can still run for office. We know that our president, later on, they were acquitted of these charges, and that's why this is a double-edged sword. The president and the deputy president, when they were elected, they still had cases with the ICC. Later on, they were acquitted, but that goes to talk a lot about our integrity and where we stand. Because if they were able to be elected in office with cases, no governor will step aside unless they're impeached at the Senate just because they have an ongoing corruption case.
Well, that's Kenya for you, right?
Well,
okay, this has to be my favorite page of the Constitution, part 2 of chapter 4 on the Bill of Rights. The Constitution is a beautiful document we should all love and cherish. Let it be taught in all schools and through civil education.
Exactly. I like this point because right now politicians are drumming in our ears about constitutional reforms. But do Kenyans even understand the 2010 constitution in entirety so that they can outrightly say, this is what I'd like to be reformed? Have we implemented the constitution? Can Kenyans say they're reaping from the fruits of a proper implementation of the constitution? But Kenyans cannot speak to this if they do not have a proper understanding of the constitution. So that's a really good point.
Okay, now at least now let's cross over to the streets where we talk to a couple of people in regards to Katiba at 10. Yes, let's watch.
I expected proper governance. 2, proper devolution. Not these shenanigans we are seeing in the Senate.
We expected, and we were excited because we knew the new constitution was going to be very useful to the country and the population.
Nilikuwa najua tutakuwa counties as in ushags tutakuwa developed sana.
Nilikuwa nafikiria katiba hii ni nzuri na ikiangaliwa vizuri itafanya kazi. Ikikubaliwa ifanye kazi, itafanya kazi, ni nzuri.
Hapa tunaongelelea wananchi wa kawaida. Ndio at least tulikuwa tunatarajia watafaidika kwa hii maneno.
Tulikuwa na expect kitu inaniweka free kama Mkenya, kitu ambaye kama kulikuwa na corruption mingi inamaliza.
Rather the constitution will give more power to the people.
There are people who are in these offices with vested interests. They are not serving the mwananchi as we expected in the constitution. So the benchmark must be increased. If it's chapter 6, it must be adhered to the letter.
Kisa tunaona kitu inafanyika is just looting the counties, badala watu the minority ndo wanatajirika, but the majority hatujaona difference.
There's a lot of impunity. People have not changed much. They are behaving, as much as we had the new constitution, they are behaving like the old constitution.
Saa hii kitu kama county tunafurahia. Tunapata sasa kama saa hii, sio lazima tupigie serikali magoti ndio tupate maendeleo.
Venye katiba ilikuwa inasema zi venye iliko, sababu corruption iko, watu wanakula pesa. Tunasikia wengine wanashikwa, wanaachiliwa. Sasa hakuna kitu inafanyika bwana.
It's very ripe to amend the constitution now. Why? The issues I've talked about, direct funding to the devolved functions, whereby money that is budgeted for is automatic.
10 years is good enough for us to amend the constitution, because now we know where the shoe is pinching us. We know where the problem is.
I don't see the difference.
We are not expecting angels from heaven wakuja ndio watengeneze. Watu wale wanatengeneza katiba na wanafanya nini? Ni wale tu.
Saa hizi wanasema wanataka kuibadilisha, lakini haijatufikia sisi tujue ni gani side gani na gani wanataka kubadilisha, ili hata tukiongelelea tujue ni nini tunaongelelea.
Corruption ikimalizwa na watu wakuwe kama ni pesa za mwananchi zimetumwa kwake na kazi imefanyika vizuri, mimi nitaangree nayo.
The governance structure is wanting in this republic.
Ngozi ndio ukuwa mzuri na Wakenya wanisikie vizuri. Democrat wakuwe ndio wengi, autocrat wachache, abdicrat wakuwe sasa wako huko tu.
Tunataka reform ya election kwanza. Hatutaki ile kitu saizi kila mwaka tunapigana.
Judicial there's a problem. Executive is an issue. So now we need to do amendments that captures the aspirations and the wishes of the Kenyan population.
Right yangu ifuatwe vizuri, mwananchi kama mimi wa chini ule nikuwe nasikika kila pale.
The leadership me, I don't see any different, because the more you create more offices in the country, ndo pesa inalutiwa sana. You're opening more loopholes.
Vincent, quite interesting thoughts you collected on the streets right there. Your final take?
A majority of people are not really aware of what the Constitution is all about. And two, people are not really blaming the Constitution for failing.
Yeah.
People are blaming our leaders. A lot of them are corrupt, and in the end, it tarnishes the progress that we've seen as a country. Yeah.
Vincent Odhiambo, quite good insights there. Thank you for making time. Thank you for coming on Social Watch. We'll see you again next week.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, time now for one more thing, and that is debrief take home. During his Madaraka Day maiden speech, President Uhuru Kenyatta said, "I discern a constitutional moment." Fast forward to the 26th of August when he was giving his national address, he also spoke about amending a constitution. He quoted Tom Mboya and said, "A constitution is not an end, but a means to a greater end." To that extent, I agree with him. But my two guests will agree with me that the leadership of this country, having been sworn under the Constitution that they swore to abide by and protect, have not upheld it, neither have they protected it. Let's circle back and look at the facts that support this school of thought. When the judiciary nullified the presidential election, the president said, "We shall revisit," and revisit the government has. Every single year, allocations to the judiciary have always reduced by a substantive amount. This means that the judiciary cannot dispense its duties as efficiently and effectively as it should. Justice delayed is justice denied. There's a list of judges still sitting in State House yet to be approved, to mean judges cannot get to work and serve you the justice that you deserve. Revenue allocation, devolution is a beautiful thing that this country has. But 9 sittings later, the Senate is yet to agree on a formula that will be used to divide 316.5 billion amongst themselves. But I agree with Senator Kithure Kindiki, the problem is not the formula. The problem is the revenue share to the counties. Out of 3 trillion, counties only get 316.5 billion. Problem. We amend the Constitution. What exactly are we amending in this Constitution? We are yet to deal with the corruption cases that still dog this country since independence. Have we fully implemented this Constitution? Yet the gender bill still sits in Parliament yet to be approved. Parliament in itself risks running the loss of not upholding the gender bill in itself. Many public institutions, public companies do not have gender equality. So what exactly are we amending? I'll tell you this for free. Politicians are always the same. When somebody says they want to make a change, 9% or 9 times out of the 10, it's for their own good. And if you do not believe me, wait and see. They'll come to you, they'll give you 500 shillings, you'll dance in the BBI rallies. Where are they now? Coronavirus is out here, threatening to wipe out a whole world. Yet our leaders, what did they do? We all know what happened at Kemsa. Politicians will always be the same. At least before you vote for a referendum or you agree to it, take your time and read the 2010 Constitution, understand it, and ensure whatever decision you make is for your own good and not serving a greater political purpose. But well, who am I and what do I know? The choice is yours. As always, it's been a pleasure doing this. You can always talk to us at Ndiro Ganga at Metropole TV KE. The hashtag to use is Metropole Debrief, or you can send us an email, metropoletv@metropole.co.ke. From the whole team that made Debrief a success, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.